My brothers and sisters, what is going on? Steel Sermon in the house. Tuesday morning with another video for you guys. And these are my Week 5 picks of the 2022 NFL season. Man, did I need a big week in Week 4, and did I get it ever. 12-4 in Week 4, and I am right back in the division race, man. Just a great week for me altogether. A lot of people had great weeks in Week 4, so it looked like things are starting to come back to normal a little bit. But yeah, great week for me. I'm 12-4, right, 36-28 on the season, right back in the swing of things in my division. So yeah, these are my Week 5 picks, and as usual, I will be starting with my biggest winners and biggest losers for Week 4. And my biggest winner, this one was a difficult one for me to decide, but after thinking about it, my biggest winner for Week 4 are the New York Football Giants. So yeah, the Giants getting it done over the Chicago Bears, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you take into consideration that both of their quarterbacks were injured in that game, and they just showed a lot of perseverance, a lot of resilience, and they just never gave in. They fought till the very end, and looks like Brian Daboll is doing a really good job over there in New York with this young Giants squad. You know, Saquon Barkley, another phenomenal game for him, almost 150 yards on the ground for him. I think Saquon Barkley is a front runner for comeback player of the year. Just a great year that he's having so far. This Giants team is now 3-1, and they are right in the swing of things in the NFC East in that strong division with Philly and Dallas. So New York Giants, they're my biggest winner for Week 4. Now my biggest loser for Week 4, this was a no contest for me. And I say that the Baltimore Ravens are my biggest loser for Week 4. Man, have I been waiting to put this team in the loser column for Week 4. A lot of people would say the Dolphins, but after Sunday, I think the Ravens won up it. This is the second time that Baltimore has blown a lead of at least 17 points at home and lost. They are now 1-2 on the season when they lead by 17 or more late in the game. Not a good look for the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson throws 2 picks. John Harbaugh has the best kicker in the league, best kicker of all time, and you don't go for a field goal on that 4th down, and then Buffalo just marches down the field and ties the game up and then wins it on a chip shot. Yeah, Ravens, you're in trouble, because now you got the Cincinnati Bengals coming into Baltimore for a Sunday night game, and the Bengals are playing some real good football. Man, as a Steeler fan, I love to see it. Baltimore choking twice this year, but as a football fan, as a non-biased fan, for real, it's just very poor coaching by the Ravens there. The defense falters once again. And yeah, if I was a Ravens fan, which I don't know why on earth I'd do that, if I was a Ravens fan, I would be genuinely concerned about this team right now. I mean, they're just not playing good football right now outside of Lamar Jackson, especially on that defense. But yeah, Baltimore, they're my biggest loser for Week 4. And they are now in a essential 3-way tie for first place in that trash AFC North at 2-2. But yeah, those are my biggest winners and losers for Week 4. And like I always say with the tournament, you don't need score predictions for every single game. All you need it for now are your spread predictions. And yeah, I know. And by the way, if you're looking to join the tournament, I had to disqualify a couple of people this week because they kept missing weeks. If you miss more than 4 weeks of the season that are unexcused and you don't tell me about it, you're out of the tournament, and it's up to me if I want to bring it back for next year. So I had to disqualify some people. But yeah, if you're looking to join the tournament, all you got to do is comment below, comment your picks, and say that you want it, and I'll put you right in, especially right now because I had to disqualify some people. But yeah, these are my Week 5 picks, and let's get on to it. So starting things off, we got Thursday Night Football as the Indianapolis Colts head on to the Rocky Mountains in Denver to play the Broncos, as the Colts are coming off a loss to the Tennessee Titans. They are 1-2-1 on the season. Meanwhile, Tennessee coming off, or Denver rather, I'm sorry, coming off being the first team to drop one to the Las Vegas Raiders. So the Colts obviously not playing good football. They have no cohesion on offense whatsoever, even when Matt Ryan finally turns in a good game. Denver Broncos, they had a hard loss to the Raiders. Russell Wilson played really well. His first good game with the Broncos, in my opinion. But it's just, the lack of run game and the defense getting scalped by Josh Jacobs all day. It's just bad loss for the Broncos. I mean, are they starting to figure it out offensively? It looks like it. Maybe they just need a couple of games. I don't know. But Denver, I just don't really think that they're still a good team. I still think that they're overhyped this year. But Indianapolis is just not playing well at all. I don't like where the Colts are going. Russell Wilson generally plays well in primetime, so I think that's your takeaway here. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos to win the Battle of the Horses. Yeah, that's right, the Battle of the Horses for this one, the Horses Ass Bowl. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos to win this one to improve to 3-2. It's just that the Colts are just not playing good right now, so I'm going to go Denver on this one. Okay, next up, we got our second London game of the season as the British accent comes back. The New York Football Giants, who are 3-1 off to a surprising start, head on to London to play the Green Bay Packers, who are also 3-1 on the season on a 3-game winning streak. Lad, I'll be honest here. I will be really honest here. There is a big part of me that wants to pick the Giants here because, like I said a couple of minutes ago, Brian Daboll is doing a magnificent job, a most magnificent job with this young squad of Giants right here. They got them fighting, they got them being resilient, and they got them using every single aspect of their offense. I think if the Giants allow Saquon Barkley to have about 25 to 30 carries a game, I think the Giants are going to be in really good shape. As it showed against the Chicago Bears, the defense played very well up to par, getting 6 sacks on Justin Fields as the Giants were able to win with 2 injured quarterbacks in that game. Daniel Jones had 2 rushing touchdowns against the Chicago Bears, so maybe Daniel Jones just needed a head coach like that in order for him to show some improvement. So yeah, honestly, there is a part of me that really wants to pick the Giants because I do think that their defense can challenge Aaron Rodgers a little bit. I do think that they can lock down the lack of receiving power that Green Bay used to have. But I got to be honest, Green Bay is a really good team with running the ball this year. They got to get A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones more touches as the weeks go by. I think this is going to be a matchup with 2 run-heavy offenses in this game. I don't see Aaron Rodgers doing much. And just a little bit of a rant. I'm so sick of seeing Green Bay, man. It's like I'm so sick of seeing the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I am dreading the week where the Cowboys and Packers have to play each other this season, because we all know it's going to happen, because they are division champions from last year respectively. So I am just dreading the week where these 2 teams have to play each other. I mean, I get that the Dallas Cowboys are the most expensive franchise in the NFL and they have a rich history, but that doesn't justify us having to see them every single week of the season. And then the same thing for the Green Bay Packers. I know that they're a small market team. I know that Aaron Rodgers is good. I know that he's a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback guaranteed. But that doesn't constitute us having to see him every week. I mean, this game is just another excuse just to put Aaron Rodgers in the limelight. I'm sick of it, man. I really But anyway, like I said, this screams upset, honestly. But at the end of the day, I just think Green Bay is the better team. I think they got more experience. They got a little bit more firepower than the Giants do. And I'm going to go Green Bay here. I think the Giants can make this an incredibly close game. But in the end, I just think Green Bay is going to pull away, and Aaron Rodgers will pull another rabbit out of his hat, and he'll lead Green Bay to a win. So, y'all, give me the Packers to win this one. Cheerio. Okay, back to my normal voice. Now we got the Sunday afternoon slate of games here in the States. As we start off with my game, Pittsburgh Steelers at 1-3, heading on up to Buffalo to play the Bills, who are 3-1. I'm gonna try to keep this at a minimum because I got a lot to say in my pregame. I heard from rumor, and I guess Tomlin is gonna make it official tomorrow on Tomlin Tuesday what the quarterback situation is going to be for us. But I've heard Kenny Pickett's going to start this game. If that's true, I think we have a little bit of a better chance of putting up a fight offensively against the Bills. Because I know Kenny Pickett threw 3 interceptions, but he came in the second half. Okay? No one anticipated him to play. His first pass, kind of like a warm-up throw. Second interception, yeah, it was on him. It was a bad throw. It was a rookie mistake. And then the last one is a Hail Mary where literally anything can happen. All right? He threw 3 picks, but he moved the ball very efficiently downfield. He gave the offense a spark, and it just looks like the offense just has more rhythm and sync, when Kenny Pickett's under center. I feel more confident with this team with Kenny Pickett than I do Mitch Trubisky. Because I'm telling you right now, if Mitch starts this game for us, we're going to get blown out. Buffalo's favored by 14. 14 as I record this video. This has to be the largest underdog that the Pittsburgh Steelers have ever been in my lifetime. Maybe they've been bigger underdogs in my life. I don't know. But in my fandom, this is the biggest underdogs we've ever been. And generally, Mike Tomlin does well when we're underdogs. However, Minkah Fitzpatrick, I don't know if he's 100% good to go for this game. Again, I'll find out more about it on Tomlin Tuesday. I think if we're to have any chance offensively, you got to get the run game involved. You got to take advantage of Buffalo being a bit undermanned, and you got to throw the damn ball to George Pickens. Good things happen when you throw it to Pickens. Pickens is a stud. Pickens is a beast. And it's shown. Every time that guy gets the ball, it's a big play. Throw the ball to Pickens. Defense, you're going to need a lot of good luck, plain and simple. Buffalo is a well-lubricated machine on offense, and it starts with Josh Allen. He has a good running back in Singletary. Weapons galore on that offense, and it starts with Stephon Diggs. Buffalo's defense is a little banged up right now, but they are still capable of limiting anybody. And I think that the Bills are going to be licking their chops, seeing that a rookie quarterback is probably going to be starting this game. People are saying, Big Ben won 14 in a row to start his career. I mean, that's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of winning streak. It's not going to happen with Kenny Pickett. I'd love for it to happen with Pickett, but let's be honest with ourselves, it ain't going to happen again. Okay, it's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of winning streak. Buffalo is just a completely different animal. They are just a phenomenal team, and I'll tell you, if Mitch was starting, this would be my lock of the week. But believe me, I have a game that is a little bit more deserving to be lock of the week than this one. Regardless, though, I want to go ahead and take us to upset the Bills, but I just don't see it happening. This is the hardest game on the schedule for us this year. And I just don't think that there's any way that we go into Buffalo and win. I think we can make it a little close, but at the end of the day, the Bills are just too powerful. I don't care how injured they are. I don't care who they don't have for this game. The Bills are just a way better team. It's a team that is a half competitor going up against a Super Bowl contender. Buffalo wins this one by at least 10 in my opinion. So yeah, hate to say it, I'm going to go with the Bills. I mean, do I like the Bills? I do. But not when they play my team. Okay? But yeah, I'm sorry. I have to pick against us. I can't sit here confidently and say, yeah, we can go to Buffalo and beat the Bills. I just don't see it. Maybe if TJ Watt was healthy, I'd be a little bit more confident, but to beat a team as talented as Buffalo, you have to be nearly perfect. Okay? And I just don't see. I think Miami got incredibly lucky against them. I'm not taking anything away from the Dolphins, but to me, they got more lucky than good against the Bills. In order to beat a team like Buffalo or Kansas City, you have to be nearly perfect. And this team is anything but perfect. Sorry, guys. I got to go Buffalo on this one. Alrighty, next up, we got the LA Chargers flying on out to Cleveland to play the Browns, as the Chargers getting a win over the Texans, and they are 2-2. Nice response after getting blown out of the water by the Jags the week before. And the Cleveland Browns are also 2-2. They lost, surprisingly, in Atlanta, as Joe Woods and Kevin Stefanski once again just cost the Browns a game. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with Cleveland, but Joe Woods has to be, his job has to be in jeopardy. Like, if I'm a Browns fan, I'd be screaming for Joe Woods to be fired. Kevin Stefanski has to be held a little bit too. The way he underuses Nick Chubb is just inexcusable, man. I mean, there's no reason to not use him. He's the best running back in the friggin' league, you know? Obviously, Myles Garrett's absence was missed as well. You know, as a rival fan, I hope the best for Myles Garrett. I don't like Myles Garrett, but you know he's a human being like us, so I hope the best for him. You know, that car accident that he was in, it could have killed him, to be honest. So yeah, hopefully Myles Garrett gets better. Hopefully he can step on the field again, but. Honestly, the Browns have bigger problems at hand than other than dismissing Myles Garrett. You know, it's just their offense just has no consistency with it at all. The Chargers, it looks like they're starting to find a little bit of a rhythm. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers to win this one. I just don't think the Browns defense is going to be able to stop Justin Herbert. I just think they're going to have a hard time locking down the targets. And I think the Chargers go to Cleveland and they get the dub over the Browns. Okay, next up, NFC North Showdown. We got the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. This one is in Minneapolis. The Bears coming off a loss to the Giants, while the Vikings won in London over the New Orleans Saints, a game the Vikings nearly lost. You know, they had a double-digit lead on the Saints. They allowed the Saints to come back and take the lead. Minnesota retook the lead. Saints tied it again. Vikings kicked the field goal to retake the lead. And then the Saints almost hit a 61-yarder to send the game into overtime. And they pulled a 2018 Chicago Bears and double-doinked it. But, yeah, Minnesota's 3-1. They're still sitting on top of the NFC North. Who would ever think I'd be saying that this deep into the season? But yeah, Minnesota's playing well. Justin Jefferson, that guy's an absolute stud, and the Vikings absolutely have to keep feeding him, and they got to keep getting him involved. KJ Osborne, I think, is their biggest X factor on offense, and if they use KJ Osborne right, along with Adam Thielen, Minnesota has a deadly, fearsome foursome right there with Cook, Jefferson, Osborne, and Thielen right there. You know, that is just an explosive tandem right there for the Vikings if they can use them all right. Front seven still playing pretty well for the Vikings. So, yeah, they're in pretty good shape. Then you got the Chicago Bears. I think your biggest mismatch for this game is Chicago's pass blocking against Minnesota's front. The Bears, Pass blocking is just horrendous. They allowed Justin Fields to get sacked 6 times, as I said a couple minutes ago. So I think that's your biggest mismatch for this game. I think all the Vikings got to do is feed Dalvin Cook, and they got to get their receivers involved. Chicago can't really compete with that right now, and I think Minnesota gets this dub. Kirk Cousins plays the Bears real well ever since he joined the Vikings, and I think that is going to continue. Give me the Minnesota Vikings to improve to 4-1 and get the job done over the Bears. We got a very interesting one right here as the Detroit Lions go to Foxborough to play the Patriots. Well, Detroit, they're an interesting team to say the least. They scored 45 points and lost. They averaged 35 points per game this year, and somehow they're 1-3. What's that say about the Lions? They can score points for sure. They can get lots of yards for sure. But their defense is still a complete mess. Jared Goff is playing so well so far with 11 touchdowns and 3 picks. St. Brown is just an absolute stud, and the Lions look like they will be they're gonna, in my opinion, they're gonna be a top 5 offense when it's all said and done. It's just the defense is just killing them. I mean, they allowed Geno Smith to pass all over him. You know, for the love of God, Detroit, draft defense, or else you're going to waste Aiden Hutchinson. Plain simple. You got to go defense heavy this coming spring. New England, I have no idea who's going to be playing quarterback for them. Mac Jones is out for at least a month. Brian Hoyer got a concussion against Green Bay. Now they're down to their 3rd string backup, a guy whose name I don't even know right now. You know? So in order for New England to have any chance at this game, they got to go run heavy again. And they ran the ball efficiently against Green Bay. It was just that the lack of firepower and cohesion with the weapons and the quarterback cost New England that game. I mean, that's just how it is. Patriots just had no chance. I mean, the defense did what they could, but at the end of the day, when you're a one-dimensional team, you ain't going to go very far. So, yeah, man, I think the biggest X factor here, New England can limit Detroit a little bit, but I just think the Lions, with the way they play offense right now, I think that they're going to kind of overpower the Patriots here. So, honestly, this is a low-key upset. I know New England is favored to win this game, but I am going to go with the Detroit Lions right here. I think that they have a way more established offense. I think they use their offense better, and I just think the struggles continue with New England. So I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions to go into Foxborough and get the job done over the Pats. Alrighty, next up is my trash bowl of the week, toilet bowl, whatever you want to call it. The Seahawks at the Saints. This one is down in New Orleans. Well, Seattle, 48 points. And they get the job done. Geno Smith had a great game. Defense got a pick 6, I believe. But still, the defense is still just really bad and killing Seattle and holding them back. Run game is pretty good for them. They got some good targets to throw to. I mean, Seattle could be a way better team than what they are given credit for. I think that Geno Smith is playing well for what he is, but it's just Seattle's just not an established team in my opinion. Then you got the New Orleans Saints. The Saints look like a bottom 3 team this year. They just do not look like a good team right now. I mean, their offense is doing what they can, but their defense has been a disappointment so far. I was really high on New Orleans' defense coming in this year, and they just have not played as advertised, you know. Saints are looking like one of the worst teams in the league, and deservingly so. I know they're missing Alvin Kamara a little bit, but still, it just doesn't melt with the New Orleans Saints right now. They are last place in the NFC South. So, typically in a situation like this, I would go home team, but I'm going to go with the team that has a little bit more of a direction with where they're going, and in my opinion, that's the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going to take Seattle for this one. They just look like a more developed team right here. New Orleans, I just don't have any faith in them right now. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks to get this dub over the Saints. All right, next up, Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. This one is in MetLife. The Dolphins suffered their first loss, and they're 3-1. They lost more than the game, though. They may have lost Tua, and they may have lost him for good. I mean, after an injury like that, where your medical staff lied and your head coach put you in anyway, yeah, you deserve to be fired for that. And Mike McDaniel, it's a shame. I gave this guy so much credit for how he was handling Miami and how he was coaching this team and prepping this team up, and he pulls crap like this. Wow. I mean, just wow. Now you may have lost your franchise quarterback, possibly for good. It doesn't even matter if Tua's cleared to play or not. I mean, he's ruled out for this game, so I guess Teddy Bridgewater's going to start this game for Miami. But my point is, if I'm Tua, I would retire right now. Because like I said in my video I put out on Friday, I believe it was, like I said in that video, the way Tua fell down backwards against the Bills, okay, that ain't no back injury. That is a neurological problem right there. And I don't know the full story, but it looked like Tua may have had a seizure on the field. You know, like I said, as an epileptic myself, I'm no expert with neurological problems, but I do have experience with it because I'm epileptic. All right? That is not a back injury. That is a neurological problem, and he should not have played that game Thursday night. He just shouldn't have. So, yeah, Miami, they got a good defense. Teddy Bridgewater looks like he's a capable backup, but it's such a bad loss for the Dolphins, you know, and I just hope and pray that Tua is going to be okay. New York Jets, they went into Pittsburgh and beat us, so they're 2-2. Honestly, the Jets don't look half bad this year. Zach Wilson, the MILF hunter, you know, the MILF man, he looks like he can be a decent quarterback for him. Nothing great, but certainly nothing terrible. It looks like he could be decent for them. I just think that the Jets need to step it up a little bit at receivers, but Robert Saleh looks like he is the guy for the Jets. They got a good young defensive core to build around, and I think that this Jets team could be competitive in the next couple years, perhaps even some of this year. So, kind of a tricky one, but I am going to go with the Miami Dolphins to get the job done. I just think that Miami's better than the Jets coming this game. They have more established talent. I love Miami's receivers, and this is going to be a big test for the Jets coming into this one. You know, Tyreek Hill and Devontae Parker and Jalen Waddle, or not Parker, Jalen Waddle, I meant. Yeah, that is going to be a tough test for the Jets. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins despite them not having Tua. Give me Miami here. All right, the Atlanta Falcons head on to Tampa to play the Bucs as the Falcons, surprisingly 2-2. And for a team that I thought was going to be the worst team in the league this year, they are actually playing pretty well. Honestly, Atlanta should be 4-0 because they should have beaten the Saints in week 1, but they choked in the fourth quarter, which is what the Falcons do. And they also should have won in week 2. And, you know, they should have reversed the curse against the Rams in week 2. They were down 28-3 to them, and they couldn't get the job done. So LA did everything in their power to lose that game. So Atlanta, and then they won the previous 2 games. Atlanta could easily be 4-0. Wrap your mind around that. Tampa Bay Bucs, they are 2-2 as well. Tom Brady is not playing well. There is a very big part of me that wants to say he should have stayed retired. But then when everyone says, oh, Brady's done, Brady's this, Brady's that, he has a game where he throws like 6 touchdown passes and 400 yards. You know, so I'm not saying it yet, but Brady right now is not playing well. Neither are the Buccaneers. I mean, their defense is still real good, but when they allow a team like the Chiefs to pass all over them like that, it's going to cause some concern. I just don't think Tampa Bay is a Super Bowl contender this year with the way they've been playing. But the X factor for me here, Brady has never lost to the Falcons. They're 0-2 at home. I don't see that home losing streak continuing. So I think Tampa wins this one. They rebound and they get back to over 500. They give Atlanta a little bit of a reality check. I think that the offense will be okay for this game. So I am going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get the job done over the Falcons. Okay, next up, the Tennessee Titans at 2-2 head into our nation's capital to take on the Washington Commanders as the Titans getting the job done over the Colts. Derrick Henry went off, and it looks like he is officially back. Ryan Tannehill continues to hold the team back offensively, but as long as he keeps handing it off to King Henry, I think Tennessee's going to be okay. It's still their pass defense is very suspect, but the Titans, they've rebounded well from 2 tough defeats to start the year. Washington, if there's a second worst team in the league, it's them. Washington just does not look good at all. They have no redeeming qualities to them. The thing that makes me separate Washington with New Orleans is that the Saints have been a major letdown. Washington, we knew they were going to suck. They got no run game at all. Ron Rivera's done a terrible job. The defense is not played up to advertised. Washington just looks dead so far. Maybe they should have changed their name to the Deadskins and not the Commanders, but yeah, Washington, they are just not playing well at all right now. So I am going to go with the Tennessee Titans to get the job done over Washington. I think Henry's going to run all over these guys, and Washington's just not going to have any response. Give me the Titans to get the job done over Washington. Next up, Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one is down in Jacksonville as the Texans are the only winless team in the NFL at 0-3-1. They dropped it to LA. The Jags are surprisingly playing pretty well. They're 2-2. I thought they'd be 1-3 at this point, or even 0-4, but they are 2-2. They are actually looking kind of good. They got off to a hot start against Philly with a pick six, and Trevor Lawrence had a passing touchdown. But then, Philly's just the better team, plain and simple. But honestly, Jacksonville's defense could be really good this year. And I think Jacksonville's heading in the right direction. Trevor Lawrence does look improved. Their defense, looks like it's going back to 2017. I honestly think the Jags might be a team to look out for this year. Houston is just not good at all. And I think Jacksonville, they could even be the best team in the South when it's all said and done. So yeah, remember when I said that there was a bigger lock at value for this week? This one's it. That's right. The Jacksonville Jaguars are my lock of the week. I think Trevor Lawrence and that defense is just going to go off on Houston here. And I think Jacksonville gets a convincing win here. I just don't think the Texans stand a chance against the Jags here. Give me Jacksonville to just absolutely blow out the Texans here. This is my lock of the week. Kicking off the later slate of games, San Francisco 49ers at the Carolina Panthers. This one is down in Charlotte. 49ers are 2-2. They do what they do best, which is beat up on the LA Rams. Kyle Shanahan is now 7-1 in his career against LA. And I believe he is also undefeated against the Rams in primetime, if I'm not mistaken. A pick six by the 49ers. Their defense bullied Stafford all night long. Run game looked stout, and the 49ers, they look like they are playing as advertised, and they look like the team that was in the NFC Championship game from last year. 49ers are looking pretty good right now. Then you got the Carolina Panthers. They do not look good at all. Baker Mayfield had a terrible game against the Arizona Cardinals, and the Panthers just still can't win at home. So this is another no-brainer here. I am going to go with the 49ers to improve to 3-2. Give me San Francisco to just take care of business down in Carolina. Okay, next up, we got probably the hardest game of the week for me to pick. The Dallas Cowboys at the LA Rams. Dallas is 3-1 and they're undefeated with Cooper Rush. And the LA Rams are 2-2 coming off a spanking at the hands of the 49ers once again. So here's the thing. Do I think LA can win this game? Absolutely, because the Cowboys never do well against playoff contenders, much less the defending Super Bowl champions. So I do think that the Rams have a great chance at winning this game. However, I'd give them a better chance at winning if Dak was still the quarterback for the Cowboys, because Dak does anything but well against playoff teams. That's just how it is. Cooper Rush, that guy's undefeated. He proved to be a winner for the Cowboys. And then there's another thing there's two more things that separate, okay? You guys think Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr do bad against good teams? Matthew Stafford probably does worse against them. And it showed against the 49ers. I mean, I'm just going to say it. LA won that Super Bowl in spite of Stafford. I mean, sure, Stafford may have helped, but he wasn't the whole reason the Rams won that Super Bowl. He did everything in his power to lose that game, and he had one good drive, and that was it. Cooper Kupp and Eli Apple won that Super Bowl for LA. So that's number 2. And finally, number 3. Actually, another one now that I think about it. They're just popping into my head. Number 3. Matthew Stafford does not do well against pressure. LA's offense does not do well against pressure. They can't pick up blitzes. They don't read very well. And guess what? The Cowboys are a wrecking machine on defense so far this year. They're a good, young, physical team that'll blitz you and get sacks in. And that is the kind of team that Dallas is. They have done a phenomenal job at generating pressure. And I think that they will bring the house down on Matthew Stafford. And finally, number 4, LA's defense has massive holes, but their biggest hole is their rush defense, and it showed against the 49ers, on Monday night. Dallas has a good run game. Zeke may have been quiet so far this year, but Tony Pollard has been such an X factor for them. And LA's pass defense is still real bad, but Cooper Rush has more than enough at his disposal. And that makes me pick the Dallas Cowboys to go into LA and beat the Rams. Those are my key factors as to why I think the Cowboys go to 4-1 with Cooper Rush and he stays undefeated, man. So yeah, Philly may be undefeated. I'll get to the Eagles in a little bit. But yeah, Cooper Rush, he's also undefeated. Rams, I just think that they're officially suffering from the Super Bowl hangover, and it was on full display for Monday night. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to improve to 4-1. Give me the Cowboys. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Arizona Cardinals. This one is in Glendale, as the Eagles are the only undefeated team left at 4-0. They got the job done over Jacksonville. And the Arizona Cardinals, they are back to 500 at 2-2, going down to Charlotte and beating the Panthers. So for this one, Philly got off to a poor start against Jacksonville. It looked like that it would be a long day for them, but Jalen Hurts did something that he should be doing for a lot this season, which is get Miles Sanders involved. You get that guy involved, he's a perfect complement for Jalen Hurts, and it showed in that game. I think that has to be the biggest X factor for Philly this season is Miles Sanders. Philly's defense looks really good. I don't see anything wrong with it. So yeah, the Eagles, I just think that they're a good team. However, there is one venue that the Eagles have always struggled at, and it's Arizona. Doesn't matter who the Cardinals have at quarterback, and it doesn't matter what their record is. The Eagles just always struggle there. And guess what, guys? I think those struggles continue. That's right. I'm going bold here, and I'm picking this to be my upset of the week. I think the Arizona Cardinals hand the Eagles their first loss of the season. Why? Because I think Arizona has that offense that can be good. if Cliff Kingsbury can use it right. Kyler Murray looks like he's starting to play well. It looks like that Arizona's defense can be good as well. And it's just narratives, man. I mean, the Eagles, they never play well against the Cardinals, especially down in Arizona. I can't remember the last time they even won in Arizona, to be honest with you. So, yeah. Something tells me. I just got that gut feeling. And plus, I just want to get a damn upset right. There's just something in my gut that's saying, Philly's going to blow this game. Arizona's going to win. So, yeah, I mean, don't get it mistaken. I definitely think Philly is more than capable of winning this game. But it's just that small gut feeling that I have that I think the Cardinals are going to pull this one out. Give me the Arizona Cardinals to be the first team to beat the Eagles this year. Give me the Cardinals in a massive upset. All right, next up, Sunday Night Football. Check your local listings as we got good old AFC North football. Cincinnati Bengals at 2-2, coming off a win over the Miami Dolphins. Heading to Baltimore to play the Ravens, who are also 2-2, coming off blowing a 20-3 lead against the Bills. So, what to say for this game? Baltimore, Lamar Jackson is that entire team this year. Without him, the Ravens are absolute dog crap. I mean, their defense is so overrated. I mean, for a franchise that is defense proud like the Baltimore Ravens are, you'd think that they'd have one of the most elite defenses in the league, but their pass defense has just been atrocious this season so far. Quarterbacks have been passing left and right on these guys. Players are just getting roasted. And I think that this is the worst possible scenario for the Ravens going in this game with that defense. Why? Because they got to deal with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Those three right there are more than capable of all having 100-yard receiving days for the Bengals. T. Higgins especially. People say Jamar Chase is the best receiver on the Bengals. He's a beast, don't get me wrong. But if you ask me, I think the most well-rounded, complete receiver that the Bengals have is T. Higgins. He's a good deep threat. He runs crisp routes. He can beat defenders. He competes for catches. He's a yak machine. T. Higgins is an absolute stud. And Joe Burrow, he has played very well since that awful week 1 that he had against us. He's limited the sacks. He's limited the mistakes. He hasn't turned the ball over. I think it is just a matter of who is more careful with the ball. In that case, it would be the Ravens, but Lamar Jackson threw 2 interceptions against the Bills. And, he just didn't have a good game. And Joe Burrow, he's been very careful with the ball since week 1. So I just think that he has the hotter hand right now. And the Ravens are just at a major disadvantage with their pass defense coming into this game. I can't really say that I can see the Ravens starting 0-3 at home. And I can't really say I can see the Bengals, dominating this game. But the way the Ravens have been playing so far, I'm going to go ahead and actually take the Cincinnati Bengals to go into Baltimore and get this win. Joe Burrow, it looks like he's starting to become Carson Palmer to the Bengals. To the Ravens, rather. Carson Palmer always gave the Ravens problems, and it looks like Joe Burrow is giving the Ravens those same problems. I think the Bengals' offense is just better than Baltimore's defense, and that is my biggest X factor for this one. I am going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals to go into Baltimore and get the job done over the Ravens for them to win their 3rd straight. Concluding week 5, we got another old-fashioned rivalry as the Las Vegas Raiders go to Kansas City to play the Chiefs, and you want to talk about mismatches, here you go. Vegas's defense has just been hideous so far. Patrick Mahomes and that offense looks like they have not missed a beat despite losing Tyreek Hill. This is one of the worst possible... I take it back. This is the worst possible matchup for the Raiders right here. They have not played Kansas City well at all, and I am going with Kansas City to win this one convincingly. This was a close second for my lock of the week, but at least the Raiders have some potential for them, and it's just one disadvantaged team they're going up against. But yeah, I think Kansas City should have no problem in this one. They are clicking on all cylinders. You know, Mahomes had 37 pass attempts and they ran the ball 37 times collectively. That's balance right there. And that's what Kansas City's doing, and that's why that they are a legit Super Bowl contender. So I am easily going to go with Kansas City to get the job done over Vegas. That'll do it, guys. Those are my Week 5 picks of the 2022 NFL season. Let me know what you think down below. Steel Sermon checking on out for the night. May God be with you all.